Hello, Danitza. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hi, Vasily. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. How are you? Is everything okay? Thanks for waiting. Sorry for making you wait. I was just finishing the class. Something happened with Pearson. I had to explain what she had to do. So it was something that I had to do at the moment. Danitza, I couldn't finish the class before. Sorry.
Don't worry.
All right. Okay. So again, if you see that, anytime that you see that in, well, on your screen, it means that something happened in the previous class, that I'm still in that class, but I'm going to join as soon as I can. It's not going to be more than those 10 minutes. 9 or 10, 9, 10, I was already here. So that's going to be my limit. But again, that's going to happen just in exceptions. It's always going to be 9:05, as I told you. All right. This is going to be just in the case of a problem arrived. All right?
Okay.
Okay, good. So, Danitza, today we are starting with a new course. It means a new model. It's going to be Model B, or at Executive English, that's A8. Just in case, I reassigned this afternoon, I believe. I couldn't do it before, but this afternoon I reassigned quiz number 3 and the final exam, as I told you. And you have the whole weekend. It means you have tonight, you have tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. It means Monday, sorry, Sunday 11:59 p.m. to finish those two elements. All right. I mean, you can take the third quiz once again, or actually you can take it now because of the technical problem you had, and you can take the final exam one more time, but this time calmly, right, so that you can do a better job. But that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about it, any questions about the previous course, so that we can start officially with the next course. Let me know, please, Danitza.
Yes, not a question, but I how can I say this? I check the slides about pronouns, and I have doubts about different kind of pronouns. Yes. Can I send you a picture? Maybe you can help me to understand better, because it's like a little table, una tabla.
Yes, it can be table or chart. Yes, you can, of
Chart.
course. You can do it here, or even you can share your screen if you want. But yes, I told you, right? We're going to use 5 to 10 minutes to talk about the doubts that you have. Okay, so show me your doubts. Actually, before you showing me, please, I would like you to share your screen if that's possible. But first, I'm going rapidly in front of you. I have to assign the new course. Let me assign it. We go to the doubts that you have, and then we start everything official. All right? Okay, so as you're looking for that one, let me assign this. You're going to be looking for what you want to show me. So also, Danitza, I'm showing you here. This is something, again, quick. You have 8 classes to finish these details, right? It's going to start today. Today is the first one, Friday. So you have 1, 2, 3, right? 4, then 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we got until Monday the 7th, August the 7th, to complete this new course, all right, that is starting today. Again, you have 2 attempts as always, and it means that if you make a mistake or something was not clear, you can take that or complete that once again. All right, those are the assignments. Again, this is the new course. Now, same as I did, I'm not reassigning, so sorry, I'm assigning the 3 quizzes, right, or the first 3 units. It's going to be the same logic. They are going to be at the end of your assignments, and you have, as always, the 50 minutes to complete each quiz. All right, same, you have all that time, and you have until August, Monday the 7th, to complete everything, 11:59 p.m., 50 minutes per quiz. And finally, right, you got the final exam. And the final exam is going to be also up to that date. It means the due date will be Monday the 7th. But remember that the starting date is not going to be immediately. It will start at least some days before, on Thursday, the last week that you got. And it will start at 6 a.m., let's say. All right, so that you have the whole day if you want to take it that specific day. Okay, why? All right. But that's it. Now we can go to what you want to show me, Danitza. It's done now. Let's go. All right. I don't know if you're going to show me the picture over here. If you're going to share your screen, let me know, please.
I share a picture via WhatsApp
Okay.
because um, the chart is from a book, and I really have problems with those four kind of pronouns.
All right. So if
And
you can hear me, I'm going to my WhatsApp. All right. I'm going to download it and I'll share my screen once again.
mm,
Okay, I'm saving it. It's desktop. Good. Now let me open it over here. And I have to. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen once again to take a look at this. Okay, so we are here, Danita. Let me know, please, what your questions are related to this.
What we saw the last class or 2 classes ago was possessive, right?
Yes, that's correct. It was possessive pronouns. In that presentation, also in that class, I mentioned the possessive adjectives to make the comparison between the two of them. But yes, the main lesson, and for Pearson, it is possessive pronouns.
Okay. Just if you can say something very short about the difference of the last between those three. For example, when I write or when I am doing some exercises, I do this very intuitively, but I don't have the logic behind that knowledge. I don't know if you can understand.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, I get it. I get it. You don't have, right, the structure over there, the grammatical structure, perhaps, or the rules, or the theoretical explanation to know why you're doing that. But mainly you do it, right, by instinct. And that's good, because that's actually a good way of learning a language. Actually, that's the way we all learn a language, right? By instinct, because we repeated that so many times, or we heard that so many times that we know how it works. Okay, so it's not bad that you know it in that way, but of course you need something extra, and that's why actually you're in the course, right? Because you need that background to understand in a better way why you're doing that. Okay, so yes, let me do it. But to understand everything, let's take a look at all of them, and you're going to see that it's very simple. The three main, right, are the three first, because those are actually pronouns. The last one is not a pronoun, right? That's an adjective. Okay, so let's take a look at the first three elements. The first three are pronouns. All right, those three. And again, this other one, that's something else. That's what we call why? No. All right. So this, let me change to yellow. And that's something else. All right. This is the strange, weird brother. So, pronoun. Subject is very simple, right? You know how to use subjects. What do subjects
Yes.
do? They perform the action. Okay. But again, it's going to help understand everything. What is it a pronoun? What is a noun? A noun is a name for anything, right? A noun can be an object, a person, right? An idea, right? A noun is, for example, Danitza, right? That's a noun. A pronoun, what is the function of a pronoun if I ask you, Danitza? If you understand that, the rest of it is going to be a piece of cake. What is a pronoun?
Mm, it's something that replaces the noun.
Exactly. It's something that replaces a noun. And that is
Okay.
going to explain everything, absolutely everything. So instead of Danitza, I say she. But if it's subject, right? If Danitza is doing the action, I say she, right? So my sentence can be Danitza is calling Luis. All right, that's going to be my sentence. Danitza is calling Luis. Now, if I want to replace the noun that is doing the action, that is the subject, I use a subject pronoun, right? So she is calling Luis. Now, Luis is also a noun. If I want to replace Luis, but in that sentence, Luis is not the subject, right? Is the object because he's receiving the action. So we say him, right? Because him is the object pronoun to replace a noun that is receiving the action, right? So if it's after the verb,
Mm,
is receiving the action. So she is calling him instead of Danitza is calling Luis. All right. So they replace nouns. All right. Now, a possessive pronoun is going to replace the possession of someone. It's not going to replace any noun. It's going to replace a noun that is possession. So, for example, if name is a possession of someone, I mean, your name, my name, his name, that's the possession. Here, this is adjective. Why? Because what is the purpose of an adjective, Danitza? What do you say? What's the definition or the purpose of any adjective?
um, this, right?
It describes nouns, right? It describes
Mhm.
nouns. It describes the characteristic or the quality of a noun. So what is the characteristic of this name? That is my name. That is a possession of mine. All right, that is my possession. What is the characteristic of this name? That is your name. What is the characteristic of this name? That is her name, his name, its name. Okay, and it happens with all nouns. Car is a noun. What is an adjective that you can use for a car? You can say big car, small car, or my car, or his car. Okay, so my, his, her, your, our possessive adjectives describe nouns. And what is the description that they are giving? That noun is the possession of a person or of someone or of something. Okay, so with possessive adjectives, you always need a noun, right?
Okay.
Because if you only say that's my, that's your, my what, right? An adjective needs something to describe. If you don't have something to describe, it's incomplete and it's incorrect. Okay? So one more time, you can say, that's my name, right? You see, Luis, Luis is written on the board. I can say, hey, that is my name, right? That is my name. But when do you use possessive adjective and when do you use possessive pronoun that is the same? You use possessive adjective if you want to mention the noun that it is describing, right? That is my car. She is my friend. He is my father, right? It is my cell phone, right? This is my cell phone, right? So I'm describing a possession and I'm mentioning the noun, so I use possessive adjective. If you don't want to describe the noun, Danitza, if you don't think it's important, if you believe that the context makes it clear what object you're talking about, you replace that noun with what? With a pronoun, but not any pronoun, because this is possessive. You need what? A possessive pronoun. All right, so instead of saying my name, you only say mine, but you replace name. You don't have to say name after mine, because mine is replacing the noun name. All right, and why do you do that? Again, because it's clear, because you don't need to mention the object, because it's not important. All right, so if I see again my name on the board, and we all know it's a name, I'm going to say, hey, that's mine, right? Instead of saying that's my name. If I see a car and it's my car, if it's clear that I'm talking about the car, I'm not going to say that's my car. I can only say that's mine, right? Or if I see a car and I know that it's his car and we all know that we're talking about a car, then we don't have to mention the car. Oh, sorry. Yes, we don't need to mention the car. We only say that's his, that's hers, that's theirs, that's ours. All right, and you can use any of these possessive pronouns. All right, so all in all, again, Anitza, the grammatical explanation of any pronoun is to replace a noun when it's clear or when you want to be just concrete about it. And the possessive pronouns replace nouns that are the possession of someone, okay, of anybody's. And that's the only function that it has. All right, so again, the only rule that you need to follow, Danitza, is that if you have here an object, it's not possible to use the possessive pronoun because you don't use objects after possessive pronouns. I mean, more than objects, because grammatically speaking, that's not correct, the possession. Okay, if the possession is mentioned here, this is not going to be correct. If you
Okay.
want to mention the possession, you use possessive adjectives. If you don't want to mention the possession, if you don't have the possession, you use possessive pronouns. That's it, all right? Because again, it's going to be incorrect if you say, that's mine book, right? No, you simply say, that's my book, possessive adjective, and not pronoun. But that's it. I don't know if that helps or if you have something else over there that needs some questions. Let me know, please. I think that's the best way to understand this, but let me know.
Thank you. I think now it's more clear. Mm, I, I'm going to practice the next week probably, but it's more clear. Yes, you know, because I read books and some articles, I think it's, how can I say, very intuitively, but it's for grammatical structures, and if I want to express this in the correct way, I think I need to think behind that the structures.
Yes, I get that perfectly. Yes, you're explaining that correctly. Yeah, it's important that you don't simply now write without understanding why, right? It's good that you know why you're doing the details because sometimes you can make mistakes and you don't know that you're making mistakes. But if you understand what's happening, you can realize when you're making mistakes and you can make corrections, right? So I understand that, and it's good that actually it's pretty good that you have that way of working, Danitza, because I think it's always a very good start to be better at absolutely anything. Okay, but I'm not going to leave it there. We're going to have some examples over here. As I'm going to give you the examples, we have a new course on Google Classroom, right? Because we need new contents. We have new contents. So in the chat, you are able, where's the chat? Why? Okay, sorry, I just put that over that. Okay, so you have the link in the chat. With that link, you can join the new course. And in that new course, Danitza, you have one more time the elements that we always use. right? You have the stream, you have classwork, sorry, you have all the presentations with all the lessons that we are going to cover this course. Remember that one more time, this is the first course, the first class, sorry, of this new course, and we have 8 classes to cover everything. Remember, 2 classes per unit, and we're going to work little by little. If you work with me, right, and we
Yes.
cover the contents together, we're going to finish on time. I think you did a great job in the previous course, all right, taking right those technical problems and those elements that happen with the final exam. I think it was great. You're going to do the same over here with absolutely the same logic. All right. So I don't know if you have any questions about that before showing you some examples with these pronouns.
No, everything's clear. 8 classes. Okay, that's
All right. Now here in Unit 1, this time it is in Unit 1, Anitza, you can see classwork all units, and you see the new document. This is new one. All right. This is the one we're going to use for this course. So also go there, please. Open that new file. Remember, everything is in classwork section, and you go to Unit 1, classwork,
wow.
all units, and the document with your name.
Okay, give me a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, I'm going to be writing some examples. You tell me when you are here, and I'm going to explain what I'm doing.
Okay. My internet is too slow. I have problems with the connection.
All
Yes,
right.
I think
Yes.
now I am.
Okay. I'll see you here. Yes. Actually, I'm also going to see when you're here. You're going to appear here. So you let me know, but I'm going to also let you know when I can see you in the document.
Here.
Yes, I can see you now. Good.
Okay.
Now, remember, possessive adjectives or possessive pronouns in this case, they can be placed anywhere that needs. Why? Because they are just nouns that indicate possession. So they can be subjects, they can be objects. It means they can be at the beginning, they can be at the end. Right? For example, you can say my favorite book is, right, the one that you brought, right, in the last, or that you brought last week, let's say. Okay, that's one idea. In this idea, I'm stating a possession, and I'm using a possessive adjective. Why? Because I am talking about favorite book, all right, and I'm saying that it's my favorite book. But imagine that this is clear because of the context. All right. Once again, your decision over there, Danitza, is on the basis of how much information do people have about that object. If we are having a long conversation and you know that I'm talking about my favorite book, then I'm not going to say one more time my favorite book. I can replace this and say only mine, right? Mine is this and that. So this is without context. All right. So without the context, it's always a good idea to be clear, to be concrete, and to say everything. But if you have the context, all right, and if everything seems to be clear, then you don't need to be as specific as you are over here. Once again, in this case, it is the subject, but I'm mentioning that because I believe that it's necessary or I don't believe that it is necessary. And that can also be as object, right? This book is one Actually, this book is her favorite uh, one. Okay, it's her favorite one. All right, yes, actually just that one, because if not, we're going to create more confusion. Just that. Here we have the same. Her favorite one is a possessive adjective. Why? Because we have the adjective her, and we have favorite one that is referring to the book. If we understand again that we're talking about favorite books, and this is clear, again, the decision is going to make us say, instead of that, just hers. Why? Because again, you believe that the context is good enough for you to only say hers. And again, you can only do this, Danitza, if you have a good context. If you mentioned that before, if this is clear. If it's not clear, and you say this to someone that doesn't know what you're talking about, perhaps this person is going to understand that this book is hers. But you're not talking about that the book is the possession of this girl. You're talking about that the book is her favorite book. Okay, so again, imagine you only say this, people are going to understand that this book is her possession. But it's not the case. If you have the complete idea, the meaning is different. All right, so again, with that, I believe it's everything that I can show now. Then it's just you practicing. But that's how you need to decide, Danita. You use adjectives, possessive adjectives, if you don't have context, if no one knows what you're talking about, and you have to be clear, concrete, and precise, use possessive adjectives. If everything is clear because of the context, if the person you're talking to, if the reader you are writing for knows what you're talking about, also use this structure. If not, once again, the more detailed you are, the more specific you are, is the better. Okay, but this is how you make decisions there. That's it. I don't know if you have questions about that, Danita. That's something extra, but I believe it's also a good way of recognizing when it's a good idea to use each. What do you say? Do you have any final questions or comments about it?
No, I'm going to practice more about this. So it's good. Right now, I think I have the difference in my head. The
Okay.
differences in my head.
Yes, great. Exactly. You can talk about a general difference, right? Or the differences that you identify. Yes, great. Now, let's go then to the first element that we have. This is the only one we need to cover today. On Monday, we're going to cover 2 lessons, okay? But they are also short. So let's begin with this one. Let's wait, please, until it opens. All right. So I believe that we mentioned this in the previous course, Danitza. Non-action verbs or stative verbs, they are the same. Do you remember something about them?
Mm, yes. Yes,
Oh, what do you
but I
remember about them?
haven't know how to explain. A non-action verb. I mean, I know that verbs that are related with emotions or some kind of states of, you know, mental states are to be non-action verbs, something like that. I mean, are different groups, but right now I can mention those two.
All right, it's good. If I ask you examples, just one, what example can you give me of an action verb and one example can you give me of a non-action verb? And I mean, instead, not only the verb, but try to put it in one example. What do you say? What examples can you give me?
Oh, I know that something like hate. I don't know if that's correct. Yes, I have in my head a list: dislike, hate, envy, something like that. But where an example, um, I don't know if this is correct, but I could say I envy her health. I don't know if that's correct.
It is correct. I envy her health. It is good. You're describing a sensation that you got. That is not an action, right? That is a state.
Yes,
Correct.
a state. Mhm.
Good.
And the other, I love play. Word play is my favorite. uh, I write some letters
I
every
write
week.
some letters.
Yes.
And to show me that that's an action verb, what is a tense that you can use to show me that it's action? Something that you cannot do with non-action verbs.
Or something that I don't understand. Sorry.
Uh-huh. Remember that with action, yes, let's say with action verbs, you can use any tense that you want, right? You have no limits. What is the
Mhm.
limit for non-action verbs? What is the tense that you never use with action verbs?
Oh, I still don't get it. No, I don't understand. I don't get your point.
Remember, I'm talking about grammatical tenses, right? In terms of present, past, future, simple, continuous, that. All right. A
Yes.
tense, for example, is the simple present or the present continuous, the simple past, the
Mhm.
past continuous, the present
Yes.
perfect simple, the present perfect continuous, and so on and so on. Right? Those are
Mhm.
tenses,
Mhm.
grammatical tenses. My question goes here, or actually, first, a clarification. Remember that with action verbs, we can use, right? We are able to use any tense that we want. We have no limits, right?
Yes, in
For example,
future
run.
too. Mhm.
Right? So with run, you can use any tense you want, right? You can say,
Yes.
I run every day. I'm running right now. I ran yesterday. I was running last night. I will run. I will be running. I have ran, right? Or I have run in this case, sorry. I have been running. So any tenses, I have no limits. But what's the limitation that we have with non-action verbs?
Um, I think I don't know. I really don't know. I
Remember, this
think
is
I
important.
don't.
Uh-huh. You
Sorry.
don't remember? Okay,
No.
it's you have to know you never use continuous tenses, all right, with
Mhm.
non-action verbs, right? Just that. That's the only rule. The rule with non-action verbs is that, for example, if your example is I envy her health, you never say I am envying her health. That's not correct. If you say I like you, you don't say I'm liking you. That's incorrect, right? If you say I have a computer, you never say I'm having a computer, right? So that's the logic. It's not possible to use continuous tenses. That's why we say continuous tenses and not only present continuous, because continuous tenses are present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future writing continuous form. All the continuous tenses are not possible with non-action verbs. All right? That's really important to take into account. But again, that's introduction. You help me with introduction, then that's pretty good. Let's go to it now, Danny. Okay, but that's something that you have to take into account, and you have that explained over here once again. So let's read this slide, please.
Okay. Stative verbs describe a state rather than an action. They are usually used in the present continuous form. I don't know the answer. She really likes you. He seems happy at the moment. He seems happy at the moment, yes.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
So what happens here? How can you explain this, Danit? So why do you think that we don't use continuous tenses with stative or non-action verbs? Why? What's your explanation? Anything that you can understand reading this?
I think it's because this um, is something like I don't know, I am going to theorize something. It's because um, an state is, I think it's because it's are related to emotions that probably you will not be able to see or perceive directly. Something like that could be.
Yes, it's related to that. Can be emotions, can be states, characteristics, right? Remember, you talk about the groups, right? And we have groups. Actually, I'm going to show you that to help me with the response I'm going to give you. You have four categories, main categories. And these categories are not actions. Something that is not an action is not going to be in progress, right? It's just going to be or it's not going to be, right? You have something or you don't have something as possession, right? It's not that you are having something now, right? You don't say, I'm having a cell phone now, but in 5 seconds, I'm not going to have a cell phone unless, right, someone robs me. But that's not the logic, right? The logic is that it is not going to change like brother. I have a brother, I don't have a brother. You don't say, yes, I'm having a brother, sorry, now. Now I don't have a brother, now I'm having a brother, right? It doesn't change. It's not something that is in progress because it's always a state. And something that is always a state, a feeling, a thought, an opinion, an emotion, a sense, perception, possession, or measurement is there, right? And it's not happening. Okay? And again, you can explain that, Anitza. You can say it's because they are characteristics, they are qualities, they are sensations that are not in progress, that are just states of the being. All right? States and again, characteristics. That's why we don't say that in continuous. And again, you can always think of those more incongruent or more illogical examples, Anitza. Again, you can say, is it possible to say, I'm having a brother right now? No. You have a brother, you don't have a brother. Is it possible to say, I am believing in you now? No. Perhaps in Spanish and perhaps in very bad English. Yes. But in grammar, you don't say, I'm believing in you. You say, I believe you or I don't believe you, right? Or in you, it's different. The same with all the elements, right? I hate you, I don't hate you. You don't say, I'm hating you, I'm not hating you, right? And you apply the same logic with all of them. It makes it possible in very informal speaking, but not in grammar and not in formal speaking as well. But that's it. Let's read now this to memorize or to try to remember, please, Danitza. Read all these four categories plus the verbs that you have over there.
Okay. Thoughts and opinions. Agree, believe, doubt, guess, imagine, know, mean, recognize, remember, suspect, think, understand. Feelings and emotions, dislike, hate, love, like, prefer, want, wish, senses and perceptions appear, feel, hear, look, see, smell, taste, possessive and measurement belong, have, measure, own, possess, and weight. Yes, I have a tablet. I have a tablet, but I don't know where is my tablet.
You have your table, your chart with this?
Yes, just
Okay.
one bit.
Okay, yeah, it's good that you have it. Remember, it's not something, don't take it as something that you have to memorize. Because remember, when we actively want to memorize things that are not connected to anything, it's always going to be harder than it. So it's good to have your table. It's good to call it table or chart, but remember, also have some examples. And if you can memorize at least one example per category, try to think of something very logical that that you can remember. And you can always think of your objects of your real life experience, right? Like mine, I always say, right, I'm having a car. And if I say that, I immediately remember that have is not possibly, right, a verb used in the continuous form because it doesn't make sense. You do the same. Try to memorize one or two examples per category. Try to think of an example that is very logical. Even it can be a funny example, a weird example. Remember, in your memory is going to work better if you think of something that is not common, if something that is not usual. So if you try to, again, have examples that are weird, funny, again, something out of the common, it's going to be better, right, remembered, and you're going to remember that easily in the, well, in the future. Okay, but take that into account. That's also a way of memorize. Remember, there are techniques, many techniques. If you want to memorize the categories, it's always to memorize the first letter of each one, and you can create a sentence with the beginning of each word, right? If you want to memorize also all the verbs, you can create one sentence, only one sentence using all these. Actually, it's not going to be one sentence, right? But one idea using all the verbs that you want to memorize. Sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it is. But again, there are always strategies. But again, if your intention is memorizing everything one by one, you have those techniques. But my recommendation for all the things that you have to know, because right now you're taking a look at all the main elements in English, it's good if you remember at least the basics, right? So again, examples that are out of the ordinary are always going to be good ideas, so that you memorize that one word, and then the rest of the words perhaps is going to just show up. Okay, but that's it. I don't know if you have questions about that. We have some extra things to see and to practice a little bit, but do you have any questions up to this point?
Right now, no, but I remember an example about a smell that was something like the chef is smelling. I don't know, I don't remember, but
Uh-huh.
I'm going to check my, how can I say, apuntes?
Notes, my notes.
Notes, my notes. Yes, I remember that example, but I right now I don't have the idea so clear.
Okay, yes, do that. Some of them, remember, actually, that's going to be the thing I'm going to show you now. Remember that some of them can be stative and can be action verbs. So we have to be careful with that. But actually, you can make a comparison, right? And even if you can find pictures on the internet, that's also very useful, right? Imagine you can do the following. Look at this example. Look, smell, you mentioned the smell. It has two meanings, right? The stative meaning is a characteristic, a quality of something or someone, right? For example, if you say the bar smells of smoke, that's the characteristic of the bar, right? The bar is not doing any action. The bar is not a person, an animal, even, because you can talk about animals. It's not a person, it's not an animal doing an action. No, the bar is something inanimated that cannot do any action. So you're only describing how it smells, right? That's a characteristic of the bar. Then you have the action meaning. What is the action meaning? The action meaning is a person or an animal using his smelling, right, sense to smell something actively, right? So you are using your nose to smell, right? Something you are smelling actively. So that's action, and it's possible. It's not possible to say the bar is smelling. That's incorrect because the bar doesn't have a nose. right? The bar doesn't have a part of the body that helps it to smell. So it's always incorrect to say the bar is smelling, the meat is tasting, the same logic, right? Because they are not doing the action. They cannot do that action unless you're talking about, and again, this can be possible, and it's if you're talking about the TV, right? If you're talking about animated series, of course, in that way, anything is possible, right? A bar can have eyes, something, okay? But we're not talking about that. But I was going to mention this. A good way to remember this, Danitza, is you have a picture, and in the picture you have a man smelling something, and you have something that smells like that. For example, chicken. You have chicken and you have, right, something coming out from the chicken steam, and you are smelling that steam. That is going to be how it smells, right? And you can say that the man is smelling the chicken and the chicken smells delicious, right? There you have the stative meaning of the word, and you have the action meaning of the word. But again, it's worth doing that, at least for these elements, these exceptions here, Danitza. Be, have, see, look, smell, taste, think, feel, weight, and measure. You have two possibilities, and it's memorizing in that way. Okay, well, I want to show you this briefly because yes, we have the extra time that we're going to be at least until 10:10. All right, because actually the class I had before was this one that I have next that moved. Okay, so we're going to be some extra time, just 10 minutes, please. But do you have any questions about what I'm telling you is more about the strategies. Now I'm going to go to the explanation briefly, but let me know if you have any questions in that.
No, and that was the only example that I have. Just but now it's clear. I mean, I remember those three examples, but I don't know. I don't know the grammar or the issue behind the idea.
Good, great. And again, if you want to work in your chart, try to at least pick one or two examples that you can remember very well, Danita.
Okay.
Something that you remember, something that is important for you, Danita. So you can play with that actually, because it's playing. Try to think of things that you remember very well. Okay, someone you love, something you love, all right? And give the example with that. If you have thoughts or opinions, imagine you say agree, and you mention an idea that you agree with, and it's a very strong idea, right? If you agree with the idea of a very famous author, you say that, right? If you imagine something related to something that you love, something that you imagined when you were a child, or something that you love to imagine now, then do that. Okay, so for all of them, try to think of real examples, memorize those real examples, and remember that they are non-action verbs. So they cannot be with ing. All right, that's the logic. But when that is done, because here we don't have to do anything else, that's you memorizing that or practicing that. But this is something we have to check, Danny. So as I was telling you, you're going to help me. Let's read, please, be and have. These two can be action or non-action verbs depending on the meaning that the word can have. So let's read them, please.
Okay. Be stated. He is immature. He's always immature. Action. He's being immature. He's temporarily acting immature. Have stated possession. I have a car. He has a dog. Action expressions we have. I'm having breakfast, eating breakfast. He's having fun, experiencing fun. Yes.
All right, so this is important, right? Remember, here, the most common thing that you have to do, Danitza, is you have to think of your name and your age, right? Your name and your age, those are states. They are not actions. They are never actions, right? Because you never say, hi, I'm being Danitza, right? You are Danitza. You're just Danitza. But you can say, hi, and he's being nice to me. I don't know why, right? You don't know if he's nice every time, but you know that now he's behaving, right, in that way. So when someone is behaving and acting in a way temporarily, you can say that as action, because the meaning of be is not a state. The meaning of be
Mhm.
is act or behave, right? So you imagine that you're in a date with a guy, and in the date being actually, let's use the other word, he's acting in a very rude way, right? He's acting in a very rude way. So in that case, you don't know the person, you don't know if he's rude every time, but you know that he's acting and behaving in that way. That's why you don't need to say
Mhm.
necessarily, hey, you are rude. You can say you are being rude, because right now you are doing the action of being rude to me, of acting in a rude way, of behaving in a rude way to me, right? That's going to be
Yeah.
the difference of be. All right. So your name, your age, memorize that. That's always a stative. But the way you behave, the way you act, that's action. And have the same logic. If it's possession, is always a stative, right? I have a car, I have a dog, he has a dog. But if you want to say eat, drink, or experience, you can say that in action, right? You can say, right now I'm having some coffee. So if you say I'm having some coffee, that's not possession, that's drinking, right? I'm drinking some coffee. I'm having some coffee. Or, right, I'm having a very bad time. If you're having a bad time, it means that you're experiencing a bad time, right? So if you talk about experience, that's it. I don't know if you have questions about that one, Danny.
No, clear.
Okay, good. So here again, we're not going to finish everything, but I actually prefer to practice better than finishing this. We can finish this on Monday. Give me please one example for each tense. One example for be stative and one for action, one for have stative, one for have action. So for examples, what examples can you give me? Just speaking in this case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He. Mm, I don't know. She. Um. mm, it sounds bad in my head, but I think she.
In the first case, remember, think of something that is always the case. It's a state, it's a characteristic, it's a quality. So you're not talking about something that is an action. You can talk about names, you can talk about states of it related to the age. You can talk about physical characteristics that they are not going to change, right? You cannot say he's being tall, for example, right? No, he's tall. He cannot
Yeah.
be being tall, right? So things that don't change, things that are characteristics that are there and don't change. So what do you say? Actually, you can give me very simple examples with be as a state. What could it be? Something that is always like that because it's a characteristic.
Uh. I don't know. I am looking. If I want to say something about the trees, yeah, um, something about how they grow can be a good example here, something like that. I don't know.
But it
Uh,
depends. If you're talking about growing, grow is something that is an action, right? Because you can see
yes.
that progress. So it
Mhm.
depends. A characteristic, again, in characteristics with the verb to be, because here you only have to use the verb to be, you can think of physical characteristics, colors, right? Age, texture, right? The height, the weight. So anything that is a characteristic that you can mention with the verb to be is going to be good.
Mm, Margaritas are yellow. Yeah, something like that. Así, trees are
Yes,
green.
exactly. Exactly. Just like that. Here, you don't have to complicate that idea, right? If you keep it simple, it's correct. Margaritas are yellow, right? The tree that you are looking at is very big, right? The tree is very big. You never say the tree is being very big. That's not possible, right? The tree cannot act being big. The tree is big. It's just big, right? My cell phone is black, or my cell phone is big. I am Luis, right? I am 32 years old. My mouse is old. My computer is new, right? This is like that. That's like this. So if you're describing the characteristic of anything, that is a state.
Okay.
All right? Absolutely anything. And what about an action? What example can you give me an action? Remember, the action of being, the meaning of being as an action is acting or behaving. So what do you say? What example can you give me about it?
Mm, um, oh, I am thinking. I am think. I think. I don't know. I don't know. Um, um, the mm, how many people are being mean?
Yes, again, that's going to depend on two things, Danisa, because it can be stated or action. If you're talking about the people that right now are acting, are behaving in a mean
Mhm.
way, then it is correct,
Yeah.
right? You can say, hey, the people in the party are being mean. I don't know why. Okay, so you're not describing them in a general way, they're the characteristic they have always. You're just describing what you see that they are doing. So if they are behaving or acting in that way, it's correct. So your example is good. People are being mean. But remember, people is very general. So in your example, you are telling me that in general, people, all people around the world are being mean now. They are acting in that way. And perhaps you believe they are being in that way because, I don't know, right? That's part of the generation or something like that. Okay, but it is valid. Mhm. So let's keep going. Then you let me know the last questions, and the rest of it, we're going to practice that on Monday. But have, a possession with have, that's pretty simple. What can you tell me about possession with have?
I have a dog.
You have a dog. Okay, exactly. And what about expressions with have that are not possession, when it means it
Mm,
or when it means to experience something?
mm, mm, mm. Having is always related with an experience or a moment.
Yes, if you want to describe the moment, yes. This is very limited in that it's you don't have a lot of options with this case. In most of the cases, you can see or you can say sorry that you're having a good time, that you're having a bad time, that you're having a terrible time, that you're having fun, that you're having this or that, but you're describing your experience at the moment. Okay, in that way, using those expressions, you don't have more than that. Of course, you have more with have, but again, have is also a way to replace eat or drink. Instead of saying that you're drinking something or you're eating something, you use have, and the meaning is exactly the same. Okay, but yes, those are the two situations in which you use it. So what do you say? What comes to your mind?
Uh, could you give me an example about mm, that have instead of drink? Or-
Okay, one more time, please, Anita.
I think I don't understand your idea, your examples of having. So what was the idea
Uh-huh.
of
Have,
yes?
yes. Remember, have, if it means possession, I have a car is possession, right? How can you replace have? With possess, right? I possess a car.
Mhm,
He has a dog. You replace have with possess, also in third person, right? He possesses a dog. Very simple,
mhm,
right? But if you use have to mean eat, drink, or experience, you can use that in the continuous form. For example, instead of saying, I am eating pasta right now, you can say, I'm having pasta right now. Instead of saying, we are drinking wine at the bar, you can say, we are having wine at the bar. Because the meaning of have is to consume some
mhm,
food or beverages. All right, you're not saying that you're possessing the food, right? That's not possible. You cannot say, I'm possessing a food right now, right? No, I'm possessing a coffee right now. No, when you say, hey, wait a moment, I'm having a coffee now. The person is not saying that he or she is possessing a coffee, right? No, is he's saying or she's saying that he or she is drinking coffee. But the most
mhm,
common thing to say is, I'm having some coffee. All right. And the same for experiencing. Instead of saying, I'm experiencing a very good time in the party or at the party, you say, I'm having a very good time at the party, right? But that's the meaning. The person is not saying, I'm possessing a very good time at the party, right? No, it's not possible. You cannot possess a good time at the party. No, you are experiencing a good time. And anytime you want to say that, you can say have. Okay, so I don't know if that helps. I mean
yes.
that instead of saying eat, drink, or experience, you can say have in the three cases, and that's action verb.
No, now it's more clear. Thank you.
All right. So what do you say? Give me just one example. What example can you give me with that?
Um, I don't know if it works in this way, but if I want to say that I am having a headache, that's good because I want to express that I have headache de la cabeza.
What?
So I
I'm not
want to
understanding
express
the last part. You're having a what? What's the word you're using over there?
headache, head.
Headache. Okay, in
Uh-huh.
that case, if you're experiencing that, yes, it is correct because it is the same as saying I'm feeling bad. Feeling is also sensation, which when it's referred to your body, and you want to say that you're experiencing a bad situation because you are feeling bad is good. The same as I have a headache is not possession because to say have, it has to be possession. In that case, it's experience. So you can say, I'm having a terrible headache or stomach ache, but it refers to the experience that you have. So as long as the word that you're replacing, Danitza, is experience, and you're not replacing the word possess, own, belong, that is possession, it is correct. All right? It's a possibility. It's more common to say in that case, of course, Danitza, that you have or you don't have a headache, right? I have a headache, I don't have a headache. But again, It depends on the meaning to that word that you're saying. In many textbooks, they are going to say that the only possible option in that case is to say, I have a headache or I don't have a headache. But again, actually, some other books can tell you that it depends on the meaning that you give to the book. All right, but once again, to avoid that confusion in terms of your body and the feeling of your body, because in that case you can use other terminology or simply the simple tense. In this case that you have with have, okay, is always drink or eat, that is to consume something or to experience, but in the sense on the moment. Okay, you're always in a safe place if you talk about that. If you go further, as in your example, it can be good, but again, it's always going to depend. It's always a better idea than if you only keep the idea of experiencing related to time, okay? Experiencing a time, a moment. If you go again further, it's going to be perhaps not that clear. All right, but that's my recommendation. I don't know if you have questions about that feedback. Let me know, please.
No, it's clear.
All right, good. Again, here we can have a lot of confusion because we can go to many places, all right, just to finish. But again, as long as you can be close to these elements that I'm showing you or to the elements that you see in the books, you're going to be, let's say, more confident. Because, it's language, right? Language is complex in, of course, any language, Spanish, English. So there's always going to be things that are not clear, and no one is going to be able to respond that. There's always going to be an expression that is not going to be as clear. There's always going to be a different way to say something, and it's going to be possible if this and this is true. It's not going to be possible if that is not true. So it can be very complex. But again, here, in order not to be so profound on that, I'm always going to try to give you just the main elements, because if we go deeper, we are going to be learning grammar, but in a very professional way. And to do that is not going to be the purpose here. And again, we're going to get lost, and it's better just to learn the language and the main grammar just for communication, right? But again, we can go deeper. And if you want to know more about have and what I was telling you, you can do some extra research. You can also let me know if you are interested in that. But again, in terms of communication, it's enough if you see those two meanings and you understand them. But that's it. All right. The rest of them we're going to cover them on Monday. All right. I took advantage because I had the class before. Right now, I didn't have the class after our class as I always do now. But once again, if you have questions about this or anything, let me know. Remember that everything is already on Pearson. Danitza, I'm sharing the survey with you. You can see it. And once again, remember that this time you have until Monday, the 7th, all right, Monday, August the 7th, to finish the assignments, the 3 quizzes, and also the final exam. And also that you have this Sunday, 11:59 p.m., to take one more time the 3rd quiz and the final exam of the previous unit. All right, that's it. Yeah, tell me, Danitza.
Okay, no, it's good. I have a question here. In this module, the third exam, the fourth module doesn't have the four quiz as the module A.
Yeah, all the models are only going to have 3 quizzes for the 3 first units. The last unit is never going to have 1 quiz. Instead of the 4th quiz, you always have only the final exam. All right, there you go. So that's it then for now. Thanks for being here, Danitza. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night and your weekend. Okay, I'll see you on Monday.
See you, Mommy.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.